Once upon a time, our favorite Disney princesses belonged to very different fairy tales. We're about to pull their surprising stories out from under the rug. Did you know that Beast and Belle's love story was actually based on a real-life couple? Keep watching to get the full story.
Take it with you, so you'll always have a way to look back and remember me.
Princess Rapunzel. Rapunzel's story dates back to the 17th century, but the folk tale is centuries older than that. It all started when Rapunzel's mother was pregnant with her, and she began having cravings for an herb that her daughter would later be named after. Rapunzel's father was caught stealing the plant from a witch's garden and agreed to give up his unborn child as penance. Consequently, Rapunzel was locked up and raised in a doorless tower. One day, a prince stumbled across the tower and climbed up unannounced. He fell in love with Rapunzel, who soon fell pregnant. When her pregnancy became obvious, the witch abandoned her in the desert. One night, the prince returned to the tower to find an ugly witch instead of his beautiful bride-to-be.
You want me to be the bad guy? Fine. Now I'm the bad guy.
He flung himself from the tower in disgust, blinding himself in the process. And if that wasn't bad enough, he went on to roam the desert for 7 years before crossing paths with Rapunzel again, who had given birth to a set of twins all on her own. Rapunzel's tears of joy cured the prince's blindness, and they returned to his kingdom to live happily ever after. Chief Moana. Unlike Rapunzel, Moana was purely invented by Disney. The story of demigod Maui, on the other hand, is a very popular one amongst Pacific Islanders. Disney chose to simplify his backstory by making him an orphan.
They took one look and decided they did not want me.
But Maui originally came from a big and complex family. The Maui myths are a part of Maui mythology, which follows the Maui brothers and their many accomplishments. Disney paid homage to the Maui Polynesian myths by adding some of the gods' victories into his lyrics. Maui was known for using his fish hook to pull up islands from the Pacific Ocean, which is said to have formed the Polynesian Islands. Although Moana's story starts and ends with Disney, Maui's is centuries old. Princess Anna and Queen Elsa. The Frozen Sisters story is loosely based on the Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale The Snow Queen.
You sacrificed yourself for me?
However, they're far from being sisters in their original tales. The story's protagonists are Gerda and Kai, who are two childhood friends. When Kai gets kidnapped by the Snow Queen, Gerda goes on a terrifying and challenging quest in hopes of bringing him back home. Problem is, the Snow Queen's kiss has frozen Kai's heart, wiped his memory, and turned him into a devoted follower. Gerda risks her life to save her friend, showing true love in the process. Gerda's love is enough to save Kai in the end. Yeah, we can totally see where Disney drew their inspiration from. Princess Mulan. Unlike the other Disney princesses, Mulan is believed to have been a real-life person who lived during the Northern and Southern dynasties. Hua Mulan's story was passed down from generation to generation through the Ballad of Mulan. This old ballad told tales of Mulan's bravery and victory. Mulan's story has been retold throughout Chinese history. There have been many adaptations and plays put forth in her honor, but the original story is very different than the Disney movie we all know and love. When Mulan finds out that the men in her family must defend China, she volunteers to take her father's place.
Ancestors, hear our prayer. Watch over Mulan.
Her parents give her their blessing, and Mulan leaves to fight for 12 whole years. Unlike Disney's Mulan, Hua Mulan already knew how to fight and was gifted in martial arts, sword fighting, and archery. It's said that no one realized she was a woman until the war was over. That's when her fellow soldiers first saw her wearing traditional female Chinese clothing. Princess Ariel. Disney's The Little Mermaid and Hans Christian Andersen's 19th century fairy tale by the same name have a lot in common. Well, except for a happy ending, of course. Both their stories start with young, gorgeous mermaids who visit the surface. They both save the prince from drowning and fall in love with him.
Why, Eric, run away with you? This is all so sudden.
Wanting nothing more than to marry their love, the mermaids visit a sea witch to strike a deal. And here's where their stories start to differ. In Ariel's original story, she gives the sea witch her voice and tongue in exchange for human legs. But there's a catch. Walking on her new legs is agonizing. If Ariel succeeds in getting the prince to marry her, she'll be granted a human soul. But if she fails, her heart will break and she'll dissolve into sea foam. Unfortunately for the Little Mermaid, the prince marries a neighboring princess who he believes to have saved him from the shipwreck. The mermaid sisters strike a deal with the sea witch to save her life. If the mermaid succeeds in murdering the prince with a special knife and placing a drop of blood on her feet, she will live. Understandably, the Little Mermaid is unable to carry out this task and dissolves into sea foam. Princess Belle. We weren't kidding around when we said that Belle and Beast's love story was the real deal. Disney's The Beauty and the Beast was inspired by real-life events that occurred in France during the 16th century.
I've never felt this way about anyone. I want to do something for her.
The fairy tale was written by French author Gabrielle Suzanne Barbeau de Villeneuve. She drew inspiration from Petrus Gonsalves and his bride-to-be Catherine's very peculiar romance. Petrus suffered from a condition called hypertrichosis, which caused him to grow thick hair all over his body and face. It made him look like a total beast, and he was treated as such by the townsfolk. Catherine and Petrus got married and had 7 children, and managed to live out their version of a happily ever after. So, there you guys have it, the real stories behind our favorite Disney princess movies. Tell us which Disney princesses you want us to cover next in the comments section below. Thanks for watching The Things. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fun content. We'll catch you next time.